Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Real Sim Racing action from Thunder Valley, the Bristol Motor Speedway, as we get set to kick off round 3 of 8 for the RSR Asphalt Assault TV series. So, as we get set to roll from the high banks of the Concrete Coliseum, we welcome you inside the LSRTV booth. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pisoko, getting ready to call the action. And as we take a look at the points through 2 of 8 races, we find Steel Horse Racing atop the standings. Evan Thomas George, 88 markers, he's on top. Jeff Ward, 86 markers, he sits P2 right now, and it's a tight battle. Just 8 points separate the top 4 in the standings, and we got a long way to go yet.
You talk about the only other person besides our championship leader that has a victory on this season, and he is way back with only 1 star, Bobby Terrell. So really, Thomas J. George entering this, you think it would give him a huge advantage, but you were talking about how Jeff Ward is right there, and you got a lot of guys really stacked up. Now, again, only 2 races in. If we're talking about Full Throttle Cup Series, that is still a long way to go. In this series, however, don't really settle in, because after tonight, only 5 races will remain in what is really just an 8-race championship run every other week, obviously alternating with the trucks. Not a lot of time. It's almost a chase within itself. Not a lot of time to make mistakes. Well, Bristol is one of the tracks that they circled on the schedule that they just want to survive. 200 laps tonight.
Yeah, it's all about survival, and a guy who knows a little bit about survival at Bristol, well, because he's going to have to do it here come Monday night, and I know is already working at it, joins us as the 3rd member of our broadcast crew tonight, Brian Macklin. And Brian, the Cup car on Monday, I know behaves a little bit differently than these Xfinity cars that the guys will take to the track for this evening, but boy, let me tell you, it is still terrifying to pitch that car into those 31-degree banks, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of people looking for something to hold on to when they're battling side by side tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're not going nearly as fast on this track as you do at tracks like Auto Club or Atlanta or Texas, but you feel like you're going that fast, because when you dive it off into the corner like that, you're inches from the wall and you're inches from every other car around you, and your nerves are just shot the entire night. This is by far the most stressful track that the drivers go to when they're racing, and it tests every bit of you when you're out there on the track.
It's going to be a test tonight. We're going to have a lot of action. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about. But Evan, right now, as we come to the end of 2-lap qualifying for all of these drivers who are going to be piloting at the controls, I find a familiar name at the top of the charts. We're used to him being number 1 in qualifying on the Cup side of things. But the 01 of Adam Benefiel has put One Up Motorsports on top in the Xfinity side of life here tonight.
And with that 10-minute 2-lap closed qualifier, you don't have the ability, as we see on Monday nights, to go out, have 15 minutes and, make as many runs as you want. So really got to capitalize on that. Everybody that's inside the top 3 in qualifying, we're there in practice. Call out to that number 5, though, if Scott Granberg was 10th fastest in practice. He jumps up with a 16.729. He's currently P4 as that clock rounds down to 0.
The clock down to 0 right now, and we are going to get set to grid these cars up. A lot of guys taking provisionals, at least it looks like from my vantage point, for this evening tonight. So we are getting set to kick it off. And Evan, as we look down the grid, Benefiel on the pole, but the guy who's been the hottest thing in RSR over the past couple of weeks starts alongside him, Jeff Ward, in that number 9.
We talked about one of the guys back here on row 2, P3 to the 20. What about Lacrosse? That outside him in 4th, you find that 5 of Scott Granberg.
5th is the 22 of William Kempf, and behind him in the 00, it's Bradley Havard.
Brian Clark will roll from 17th, picking up 10 spots from where he was in practice. P8 going to be the 14. That's Scott Simley.
9th tonight going to be Thomas George, the 1, the snap-on machine, and rounding out the top 10, the guy who inherited the points from Bobby Terrell's win just 2 weeks ago, Jose Gonzalez in the Meatball Mobile.
59 of James Thorndike going to be on the inside of row 6, P11 to snack up on that. The 88 on his outside, P12 to Paul Williams, the 2nd.
13th, Kevin Linden, the 48. 14th tonight to 72, David Kamara.
Anthony Palumbo going to be starting 15th position. He was really fast in practice, both him and Kamara in the 72 machines, dropping back into the top 14 or so after being good in practice. Look for them to try to get back up through the field. And then starting 16th, you got the 56, that's Wyatt Wolf.
17th tonight, Jason Miller. 8th going to the 65 of Ed Williams.
The 23 of John Nickler going to be starting 19th, rounding out the top 20. Outside row 10, the 10 of John Abbott.
Last 4 cars to time: Kevin Pearson, Keith Brooks Jr., Sean Meyer, Doug Roth, and a bunch of guys in this 34-car server in on provisionals. Several going to start from pit road, including both of the Boomtown Sim entries, and we're going to talk to one of them tonight as our in-race reporter, Evan, because Corbin Himstreet going to be in scoring points for Christopher Hurlow, who we've seen be very good over the early stint of the Asphalt Assault series, but involved in a very serious car accident and unfortunately not able to race tonight. Let's see if we can dial up Corbin on the radio. Corbin Himstreet, Jacob Seelman in the LSRTV booth. I know you're in for your buddy Christopher tonight and hoping to give this car a good run here at the High Banks.
Yeah, he was caught up in a bad wreck in his car, I think, Thursday of last week, so he's still pretty banged up. Doctors gave him 4 to 6 weeks before he's recovered, but he's working really hard to get back by next week. So, yeah, I'm filling in for him this week. I think he's up in 6th in points, so no pressure.
No pressure at all. I know you're excited about Bristol. We're excited about it, too. What's it going to take to win here tonight?
For me, a lot of luck because starting from the pits here, so we got a lot of work to do to get back to the front. I think if we get lucky and stay out of trouble, I definitely feel like I'm fast enough. I think I turned one of the quickest legit laps in practice. So yeah, if I get the opportunity, I think I'm fast enough.
We're looking forward to it. We'll let you get to it, Corbin. I know you got a long way to come, but good luck tonight.
Appreciate it.
All right, Evan, we're getting ready for the green flag here. Adam Benefiel on point as we get set to rock and roll. I believe the pace car going to get ready to hit pit road this time by, so we are glad you're along with us here on LSRTV. They call this place the last great Coliseum. You're going to see the Gladiators go green flag right now. We are underway for the Thunder Valley 200, and Adam Benefiel on the jump off to turn number 1.
You see everybody playing nice inside of the top 5. First fight, you'll see that 00 on the outside. That's Brayley Hayford. Right behind him, Brian Clark working the inside. And a number 89 car, not the place to be. He'll lose that spot. He'll jump up in front of the line, in front of the one of Thomas J. George.
Already people going to the high line. Brian, we know the high line for a while is the place to be, at least if you're just going to ride. But boy, when you really want to make a pass, though, about the only way to do it is to pitch that car into the corner on the bottom, and you're almost like you're on dirt. Slide job to get it done.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can use the old-fashioned chrome horn. I think that's my favorite. You just get in there, you give them a little bit of a back bumper or bumper hit, and then you just send them off up into the wall, and you get them rolling.
I think we're going to see that happen a lot tonight. We talk about, call them gladiators, Evan. This place takes no prisoners. If you're a victim of Bristol, you're going to have some bent sheet metal, and I don't think there's going to be anybody that has a completely straight race car at the end of the night. We're already, though, clocking laps at 17.3s in race trim, working lap number 5 here. Benefiel off to the early start. He's impressing me so far.
Hey, you talk about Benefield. He's running 17.1s. I talked about, how about a 16.9 that time by? He holds right now, it's about 4 car lengths over Jeff Ward, Matt Lacrosse. Both of those cars started in 2nd and 3rd respectively. They sit there right now. The question is, how can you last over a long run? You talk about sim racing. It's, to an extent, pretty physically challenging to be able to go in there, whatever the force feedback settings on your wheel, however aggressively you're driving that, and do it 200 times over and over. Not only mentally as well, trying to hit your marks, because you talk about a track kind of like Kansas in the fact that you go right up against the fence, which means it is so easy to catch that fence, and you get stuck in it. You don't bounce off the wall, come right back down. You see the 21 get really close there, if not scrape at it a little bit. That Matt Lacrosse, he is right behind Jeff Ward. When you're following somebody like this, Jacob, that 21 can be tracing the line that the 9 car's taking. If Jeff Ward goes into the fence, the 21's going to follow him right there as well.
Yeah, he is, and I'm watching a 4-car battle pack right here as we work lap number 9. It's led by the 14 of Scott Simley, but you've got the 26 of Jose Gonzalez in the mix. little bit further behind them. You've got the 59, James Thorndike, there as well, and you've got the 88 of Paul Williams II. All that's between 9th and 12th right now, these guys. But the Budweiser machine of Simley leading the train, pulls away by a car length right there. But I saw Gonzalez and Williams both peek into the inside last time by Evans. So these 4 cars putting on a really good battle right on the backside of the top 10.
And there's a whole bunch of them there. You can include that 88 machine as well in that battle. Just a little bit behind them, Kevin Linden. Then you got David Kamara and company. We sit with 29 cars in the lead lap. 3 cars that had to start from pit road and are therefore stuck a lap down because of the fact that they're not allowed to go for X amount of seconds. You talk about how a lap time's only 17 seconds. Very little time. They were just rolling from pit lane by the time the rest of the field was in 1 and 2 on lap number 2. So it becomes a fight for what would be a lucky dog position right now. 30th, 1 lap down. It's occupied by Anthony DeBarro right now in the 42. Right behind him, teammate car in the 96 of Corbin Himstreet, and then as well, Mark Bradshaw finds himself a lap down. He's about 2/3 of a lap behind those guys battling. Now we got trouble down the back straightaway, a lot of smoke, and 1 car turned around, 2 cars now. It looks like Thomas J. George might be one of them. No, it's Keith Brooks
I
Jr.
believe you are correct. Keith Brooks, no, it's Brooks that is turned around and draws the first
Similar
caution
colors.
flag of the day here at lap number, working lap 14 now. I believe the caution actually came out on 13, but the 81, Keith Brooks Jr., Evan, the one in trouble, and I didn't see exactly what happened, but I do know this. As quickly as things happen at Bristol, this track gets bottlenecked in a hurry.
And it wasn't exactly a situation of that. Keith was working up on high side. Underneath him was the 91 of Greg Omo. What happened was they were side by side. In front of them was the 15 of Danny Sanchez. So they're racing behind the 15. 15 slows up a little bit, and it looks like Keith may have just either tried to shoot the gap, as you see the replay now, or that car just got sideways, but he was about 50 degrees, came down, and ended up chopping off at the nose at a 91 car. Both of them went around, coming out of corner 2. The 18 going to get a small piece of that. Not quite getting away scot-free is Jason Swan, but 2 cars get turned around down the back straightaway. Not a lot of apron room down there as far as guys trying to sneak by. They both managed to stop off of the racing surface. Call it a 2-car incident for our first yellow.
So as we work under caution, and Keith Brooks actually going to be gone from the sim right there. He got a throughput down to a level that is not going to keep you in the sim, Evans. So bye-bye Keith Brooks, at least for the time being. I imagine we may or may not see him back a little bit later, but under caution, working lap number 16, Adam Benefiel and that One Up Motorsports machine continues to lead the party. I like Matt Lacrosse, though, kind of lurking back there in 3rd. The top 3 are exactly like they qualified. They just kind of got into line and have sit here for the moment. But, you know, we talk about Matt all the time, Evan, as being a guy who we never see him during the first 2/3 of a race. If he's going to make a stand, it's always that last 20 to 30% of a race where he's going to turn it on. We saw it a couple weeks ago. I think it was the Michigan race for the Outlaw Truck Series where he just came flying through at the end and almost got himself a victory. Came up a little bit short, but I just think of Matt being one of those guys, almost like a David Pearson. You don't know he's there until it's go time.
You can relate that to something that we see Bobby Terrell do a lot, and I'm hesitant to call it a strategy because I'm sure none of these guys would object to just leading every single lap, but it is true, everything works out, you find yourself in a place to the point where, you know, maybe not necessarily riding around, but just being smart, have yourself in a position where you can challenge for that win, and then really get on it. The lights are going to go off for the pace car, so we will go back green to take lap number 19. How about 2 guys that have really gone through this field, though? The 89 of Brian Clark started 7th. He's up 2 spots to P5. He'll be on the inside of row number 3. Outside of him, a car that's gained 3 spots so far in this, up to 6 from 9th. That's Thomas George as well.
I'm not surprised at Thomas George. We know that Snap-on Chevrolet is always going to be a threat no matter what race car you put him under. He was in a Toyota Tundra during the truck race last week. Now he's back in a Chevrolet, but it's still steel horsepower underneath the hood, and we know he knows how to get it done on the racetrack. Ford First Mustang pace car gone from pit road. The American Ethanol green flag flies for the 2nd time tonight. We are back underway, working lap number 19, and again, it's Benefiel on point down the back straightaway.
41 car Matt Lacrosse not going to waste any time, wants to get up to the
Oh, they're in trouble in turn number 3. Thomas George is in it. The 89 of Brian Clark started it. They're scattering everywhere. Caution flag flies. Clark got the worst of it, but George was up in the fence. He had nowhere to go.
And I talked about how Matt Lacrosse shoved his way in line. I think that's what that 89 was doing, and there was just absolutely no room. We talk about how important, Jacob, getting up to that high side is. Didn't do it into the corner, and by the time they were coming off, the one with a great run up on the high side, that snap-on machine, 89 just came up trying to get in line. It just wasn't clear. It's very simple, and he ended up coming across the nose of the one machine. Thomas not only was obviously hit by the 89, he got hit from behind as well by the 5 car. The replay did go up now. You can see that. And then it was Brian Clark who was stranded sideways in the middle of the racetrack, and everybody else scattering down to the inside wall, heading into 3 to try to avoid that. But desperation, although it's early, you know that he knows that if he got stuck down on that inside, that he would have been going backwards trying to avoid that, and really just turned himself into the fence, and much to the misfortune of Thomas J. George, who's down on pit road for damage repair.
And yet again, it's another case of wrong place, wrong time, and there's heavy damage to the front end of that number 1 machine, so it's a very tough break for Thomas George, as we do have a few guys on pit road right now tending to service. I'm looking at the way this shakes out. I believe Mark Bratcher in the 50 may get the lucky dog under this caution and get back on the lead lap when we go back racing. But how much bad luck can one endure, Evan? Because Thomas George has just, whether it's the Cup car, the Xfinity car, really doesn't matter. He's had everything happen to him, most of it not of his own making the last couple weeks, and I know that team is understandably very frustrated.
Yeah, and this is a racetrack in particular where you can run, but you can't really hide, again, because, an incident happens, the track really gets blocked. That wasn't the cause of this one as far as being a, secondary person involved in that, but, again, just wrong place at the wrong time, and, you can be fast, you can put yourself in what you think is good situations, you can be at the front of the field, you can be mid-pack, whatever you do, and trouble will find you, and there's no, remedy to just be able to get rid of that. And it's tough, and it's hard as a driver to continue to go out there. You start to second-guess yourself, which means you're not going to attack a racetrack like this as much as you would want to in order to be fast, and it's just a tough deal. And it's not like you can go into the next week and say, all right, we're starting over. You can say that you're due for a good one, but in the end, you kind of need that help from Lady Luck if you want to be successful.
You really do. That is such the hard part in this event and at this racetrack. So, under caution for the second time already in this race, and the One-Up Motorsports 0-1 of Adam Benefiel leading the party. The Yeti Coolers number 9, Jeff Ward, riding in position number 2, as they have the entire race so far, as we double up for another American Ethanol green flag restart. And Brian, I was hoping we might get a green flag rush early, but it seems to be typical old Bristol.
Yeah, like Evan was saying, this is a track where you can't really get away from anybody because of how tight the track is, and once tempers start going up like we've already seen, it's not going to get much better than that.
It is not. So, the Roll Speed Dynamics 0-1 of Benefiel ready to take this field back under the American Ethanol green flag. The iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car is gone, and we roll with 24 of 200 laps complete. Benefiel on the jump by 3 car lengths as everybody settles into line. Top 4 single file, and a bump from the 21 of Matt Lacrosse to the back bumper of the 9 of Jeff Ward. Lacrosse wants to go.
Everybody playing nice inside of the top 10 to a description in that as far as getting single file out sideways. We got a car nearly around slow, the 72 of David Kamara. He hangs on now. They wreck in front of him. Doug Roth in defense and a big pileup.
Oh, and they're piling it in. Thomas George is in it again. The 43 of Doug Roth, and just as quickly as we rolled, we're back under caution here at lap number 26. So the pace car will come pick up the field one more time, and what can you do? Cautions breed cautions, especially at this racetrack, as they say. So that was Doug Roth, though. He got sideways. I believe that was in turn number 2, Evan, and had a little help from the 88. Paul Williams got into him.
Yeah, right behind Paul, the 72 was sideways. I think the 82 might tried to throw it into the corner a little bit harder to get away. And again, another situation of just trying to gauge your positioning on the corner comes up. But I'm talking about, again, very slight contact, but just nudges that left rear to the point where that car's light enough coming off the corner, just hooked that 43 around. Didn't go into the inside while he overcorrected. And then again, we talk about an almost like beating a dead horse, but it's true. There's nowhere to go. Look at the 42 and the 41 team cars up there against the outside retaining wall with Jared Como and Anthony Navarro. You just can't get away from that. You'll say go low. We had 3 guys, 3 wide down below trying to get away, but when you're committed to the outside, you throw it into a corner, and you're in a side-by-side fight like those guys were in the middle of the pack, you just can't get down in time.
No, you can't. So under caution, completing now lap 28, putting 28 of 200 on the board. We are going to step away for a brief moment and come back to Thunder Valley in just a moment. You're watching coverage of the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault TV series here on LSRTV.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Welcome back to LSR TV from Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko, Brian Macklin in the broadcast booth tonight as Adam Benefiel has led all 33 laps we have run so far. Jeff Ward and Matt Lacrosse continue to run second and third, exactly like they started this race. Biggest mover early in the going is the guy who rides in now ninth position, up 10 spots. I started to say it was Wyatt Wolf who had picked up 9 and runs from 16th to 7th, but now, Evan, John Klickner has moved from 19th all the way up to 9th. Good run for the 23 car.
Talk about another car with the 2 in front of it. How about the 20 to Matt Lacrosse? Give him the 42 because he is riding and we're all up against the fence, but he's bouncing off it and he's using it to turn. You saw it there again. He's diamonding the corner because he hits the wall in the middle of 3 and 4 and then ducks back down. It's the 20 to Matt Lacrosse. He's hit the wall like 8 corners in a row.
Yeah, just about. I mean, he's using it to turn the car. He's going in, bouncing it off just a little bit. It points the nose down, and that might be the weirdest way, Brian Macklin, of diamonding the corner that I've ever seen anybody do on this sim ever, except for maybe Kyle Larson. Caution.
Mark Bratcher's not happy. The 50 car just came over the radio and trying to see. He's sitting 1 lap down. He's turned around in the middle of the front stretch. Looks like Corbin Hemstreet as well. We talk about tempers. It was funny because race control actually said, you go through your pre-race briefing, straight up said, there's going to be some tempers tonight. It's Bristol. This started, and Jacob, you're not going to like this, but the one car again, Thomas J. George, he's actually, I think, going to be the cause of the caution after the 41 of Jared Como comes off of the wall, turns the one again. Wrong place, wrong time. I think that's what triggered the yellow, but then you're hearing the 50 over the radio because he checked up and he got run over by Corbin Himstreet and turned around as well.
And Como's already claimed responsibility for the yellow that puts us under our 4th caution of the night here at lap number 39. Brian, that was maybe one of the more unusual yellow flags I think I've seen here at Bristol, and unfortunate for Como, and even more so for Thomas George. I think that's the 3rd caution in a row he's been swept up in somehow or another.
Yeah, that was really weird. The 41 just got loose off the corner and came down into him. I feel bad for Thomas. He's, like you were saying earlier, he's had a lot of bad luck the last couple of weeks, and it just seems like nothing wants to go his way tonight either. He took a really nasty hit, and I hope he's all right.
So, let's see, Evan. We're working lap 40. We're 20% through with this race, and we're working our 4th caution flag. I don't like the math that bodes. That would put us on pace for 20 cautions tonight.
I mean, it sounds like Bristol.
It does sound like Bristol, I'll give you that. But I give a call to Benefiel. I mean, he's a former Asphalt Assault Series champion here with RSR. Won the title back, I believe, in 2000. I want to say he was the most recent Asphalt Assault champion in 2014, or either 2013 or 2014. I'll check my stat book in a minute to confirm that. I know Benefiel has been good in these Xfinity-style cars, and he leads the way right now, so I'm not really surprised. I don't know that anybody is. We've been waiting, Evan, for him to have this kind of a race, where he just goes out and does what he needs to do to leave everybody. It hasn't happened on the Cup side yet, but boy, this is more like vintage Benefiel, I would say.
And it helps that he started in front of everybody else and doesn't have to be, making moves that we've seen people having to do. A guy like that Toyota Matt Lacrosse, or, we've seen incidents back at the pack, guys trying to get in line because it is so important to get up to the outside wall because you'll drop back. And if that freight train's going right off of a restart, you find yourself down on the inside. Most definitely not the place to be. So you're really seeing these guys get desperate, jumping up in line. We talked about the cautions, though, and, I think it's going to be like it was on Monday night. I think it's going to be like it will be next Monday, next Wednesday, all the way through, is that you get a couple of yellows at the start of the race, maybe a little bit more. We'll give Bristol some leniency because it's not an easy place to just ride around for 200 laps with 30 plus other cars out there on track with you. We'll get that long green flag stint in the middle. We'll get a couple of good runs in there, maybe not all the way to green flag pit stops, but we'll get some good runs in there, and then may or may not get some yellows at the end to make this one exciting. We'll see the 01 and the 9 going to be the front row.
Let's see, how many times have we said that? Oh, I don't know, about every restart so far tonight. So, all right, Benefiel and Ward, let's try this again. I think it's been the same front 2 rows since we dropped the green flag. Pace car's gone. Green flag back in the air. Here we go, 42 laps in the record books. Still a long way to go. The first battle on the racetrack is for 3rd. Lacrosse slides up in front of William Kemp, and the top 4 back to how they started.
And again, the guys at the front of the field here very easily able to get things sorted out for the most part. Looks like going to be a battle for P5, though. The 00 is going to be stuck down low. Here comes Wyatt Wolf, who's making his way through the field. Started 16th. He'll go up to 5th as he clears that 00 coming off a quarter 2. He's got company. It's Jose Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, I'm not surprised at. He's good in these Xfinity cars and moves up inside the top 6 now for the first time tonight. The 26 headed forward. He started 10th and continues to go in the right direction. I'm very impressed with the 56 of Wyatt Wolf, though, Evan. 25th in practice, 16th in qualifying, and yet here he rides position number 5. This is a banner showing for that team.
And I don't think he's done yet. He's making some pretty good headway, and he's been improving all night from 25th in practice to 16th in qualifying to now 5th in the race, picking up almost increments of 10 every time through, and only now almost quarter distance going to be in just about 3 laps or so. If he can continue to be up here and apply the pressure, he has not added this thing by any means. However, P5 is pretty much the first car that's back off of our top few cars running away. He's 1.4 seconds off the top spot, making maybe 8/10 off of fourth, where you find that 22 of William Kemp, who's within 7/10, Matt Lacrosse within 4, and then Jeff Ward within 2 of our race leader. So they're not letting that 01 machine get away, but nobody's really been able to put a real challenge on him for that top spot either.
No, they haven't, and just, those 4 have been the class of the field so far tonight as we watch Benefield continue to lead. Kemp is starting to fall off the pace of the top 3 just a little bit, and there goes Lacrosse again, Brian, just barely scraping that wall, turning the car a little bit, and on he goes, but it's kind of like the whole Kyle Larson at Eldora theory. You can't keep doing that all night long, and we just saw him really kick it sideways off turn 2 that time.
You can get up against that wall and use it to settle the car into the corner so you can get a good run off, but at some point you're going to hit it too hard and mess up the front end and make it to where it's not going to turn as well, and that's when you're really going to regret making that decision. I can see doing this with 50 to go, but 150 laps, that's too much, and we got a replay of Lacrosse hitting the wall right now.
Getting a look at it there, and we're actually looking back at the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, so from the bumper cam, if you will, of the 9 of Jeff Ward, who that Yeti Coolers machine just kind of stalking the 01 of Benefield. We know they're the 2 best cars here, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Caution flies at lap 53. Big trouble.
Yeah, that was a big one. That 20 machine looks like the South Point Hotel and Casino Chevrolet of Nathan Little. He was getting knocked around, and that car had a couple of tires in the air. It started in front of him. First car to get turned around, not the first time, actually, maybe back-to-back incidents. The 50 car of Mark Bratcher looks like he came up off of the corner and cut off the nose of Corbin Hemstreet, almost a role reversal in that one. The 50 car ended up sideways, and again, much like we saw a couple of teammates earlier when the 41 and the 42 plowed into it on the high side and won it, just nowhere to go for that 20, nowhere to go to the 98 car, and 4-car incident down in the quarter number 3 puts us back under yellow. Now past the quarter distance, though.
Yeah, and I think for the first time all night, we are going to see the leaders down on pit road, Evans. So Benefield headed south, but Matt Lacrosse staying out, I believe, on this caution. And at lap 54, he will assume the race lead.
Lacrosse staying out, plus the fact that he's been bouncing off of the road. It's been quite interesting, but you see Benefield down on the pit lane. He's sitting in that number 1 pit stall. Left side tires going up as well for the 9 car behind him. Jeff Ward going to be 4 tires for those guys. They're backing off of the pit lane. Nobody really pulling anything crazy behind him. William Kemp going to follow through. How about the 87 of Anthony Palumbo? And again, he'll exit after being 21st on the racetrack. He came down pit road a little bit earlier for a 2-tire stop.
2 tires at Bristol, Brian. Does that work?
Well, they haven't had a lot of green flag laps on these tires, so right now this might be a good idea to do it. If they'd had 50 or 60 laps on the tires, then I don't think that's a good call, but considering they've had a lot of cautions early on, I don't think that's a bad call at all. I think it's going to make things interesting, and it's going to make guys like Adam Benefield really have to work for it now.
Alrighty, and Lacrosse, it looks like Lacrosse, Gonzalez, Abbott, Thorndike, Williams, Como. I think a few of those are going to change here. I know the Boomtown guys are on pit road, but at least 4 or 5 guys are going to be ahead of Benefield on this restart. So you're right, Brian and Evan, I'll throw this to you. This is going to be the first time all night we've seen the fast guys have to work through cars.
Yeah, I said that Adam Benefield was not able to get away with the fact that nobody was really putting a challenge on him. So, pretty evenly matched, but the 01 machine doing real good. He's going to have to stack up in P6. So he does have the advantage of being up on the outside lane. Guys like Jeff Ward or even an Anthony Paloma who's pulling that strategy in that good wrench entry, going to be 7th and 9th. They will find themselves on the inside. So to be in a spot to get up to the high side, if you're on the bottom, you got to be either Matt Lacrosse, I think, or John Abbott. Once you get 5th on back, that's where we've seen all the scrapping going on these restarts. That's where it's going to be quite the challenge to get up in line.
That's exactly right. And it's going to be interesting to watch when we get set to go back green. And I like the strategy on the 10 of John Abbott just because it's one of those cars who, you know what, why not? It's not necessarily a front-running car normally. Take a gamble. It's a short track. Catch a few cautions and see what you can do about holding a little bit of track position. It just might pay off, Brian, because we know how crucial track position is, especially at a place like Bristol.
Well, we've already seen all night that the Highline is the preferred groove, and you have to be able to get up there in a hurry. And once you get up there, you can hold somebody off because it's really hard to pass on the bottom. They've either got to move you out of the way or they've got to dive it off into the corner and hope that they can slide up in front of you before the exit. And doing it that way, this is a good call. I like John staying out.
We're about to see exactly how good of a call it is. Lacrosse, Gonzalez, Abbott, Thorndike, the front two rows. Green flag back in the air, and we are under another American Ethanol restart. Oh, Abbott nearly tags the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. He's trying to get it wound up as they go off into turn number 2. They're door to door. Oh, trouble! Lacrosse gets turned. I think Lacrosse got turned right out of the lead. Caution flag flies.
Gonna say they were stacked up 2 by 2 by 2 for a couple of rows, and he did get turned, but he was sideways before that. Talking about the strategy call, you see, although he didn't hit the fence, that car's sitting at an angle. It's not really pointed forward. I know he likes to go up high and then kind of dime it down, but that car never really got straightened out. I think it would have been okay if the the 26 didn't come flying through, but it would have taken a significant speed drop to be able to slow that thing down, get it back the right direction. And now Jose Gonzalez, who had to fight to get up to where he sat right there, found in the wrong place at the wrong time, as he was, just as innocent as the victim in that one. 21 comes across his nose, and now Matt Lacrosse, going from being a top 3 car, pulls a strategy car and going to be outside of the top 25.
All right, Brian, you're the driver in this broadcast booth. What say you on that incident?
Oh, that just looked like Matt was trying too hard to get away on the old tires. He knew that Benefill and a couple of those other guys were on fresh tires, and he was trying to get a jump. He got loose, and Jose didn't have anywhere to go. I feel bad for both of them, but I don't really think you can put any blame on Jose for that one.
So we sit under caution, and you're right, I'm just now getting a really good shot to look at it again, and Matt was almost 45 degrees sideways by the time Jose ever got to him. I think, Evan, that's what you would call just coming along and finishing him off.
He assisted him around. He didn't double, but he finished him off, to say the least, and Jose's going to stay out there. The question is, that front end was pretty good contact as far as the difference in speed that those two guys had. Is that going to affect him at all? If anything, as far as damage to the actual race car outside of cosmetics, as well as the fact that it could possibly cause some temperature issues as well, depending on how beat up that front end is.
So, guys, I told you if we continued at the pace we were on, we were looking at potentially 20 cautions tonight. So far, 6 cautions, going to be about 27 laps this time by, so we're still on pace, Brian. I mean, we're averaging about every 10 laps back under yellow, so I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, this is really rough, and once they get in the mentality of there's going to be a lot of wrecks, everybody starts getting really impatient because they know we're only going to go a couple of laps, we're going to have another caution, so got to get everything you can on the restart, and that just makes matters worse, and that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing these guys get really impatient and trying to make moves too quickly. They really just need to settle down and kind of let things settle out and spread out, and then they can really go after everybody.
And as we continue to circulate, Evan, I'm asking you here to, besides the guys who stayed out for track position, pick a surprise inside the top 10, somebody that's impressed you, at least through the first third of this race.
Liking that 88 car. If you look at the numbers from practice and qualifying, 11th and 12th, nothing that spectacular. The Tax Slayer 88 is now right in the mix of things in between both Adam Benefill and Jeff Ward on the charts right now. He's in a spot where he can try to utilize some tires to get something going. Watch that 88. I think he could be up here to fight for a top 5, if not a podium.
I'm going to go with another guy who I'm looking at a little bit now, and he's just kind of quietly snuck up into the top 10, and that's the Wrangler Goodwrench number 87 of Anthony Palumbo, up to 8th. I'll talk more about him in a minute. Right now, Jose Gonzalez leads the field back to green. John Abbott got a great restart from that third position, second on the inside lane. He moves to the number 2 position, down the back straightaway. We're working lap number 65 here, and continuing as the Meatball Mobile is out in front. He picked off the track position when Matt Lacrosse went spinning and hasn't relinquished it yet, even on lesser tires. They're bumping and banging for second behind him, Evan. Thorndike wants by Abbott. The 59 just can't quite get there. And now he's under attack from Benefield.
Yeah, I'm going to see how Benefield tries to do this because he's trying to make a pass down low. He has the advantage of the tires, but I just don't think right now that inside has enough to be able to actually put up a good fight for it. You see he gives up there. He opts up behind, or rather in front of the number 9 before Jeff Ward would be able to get in front of him. Now these guys start to close in on John Abbott. Abbott is about 0.6 of a second back from Jose. Look at the 59 car, though. Thorndike really going at it. Looks high, then dives low. He really wants to put it up, and he'll go to the inside, fight for P2.
Yeah, he will. That's the best battle on the racetrack right now. Behind race leader Jose Gonzalez, the Meatball Company, and they're squeezing, trying not to go sideways, but they're not really succeeding. Gonzalez is loving this. He's gone as they're beating and banging for that third spot, and Benefield takes it away from Thorndike.
Yeah, Thorndike really had to drive it hard to stay up against the left side door of John Abbott for that spot. He got sideways, somehow hung on to it, but again, lost a lot of time. Deal with Adam Benefield clear, the 9 clear, now the 22 car of Jeff, or rather the 22 William Kemp, who was trying to Matt Lacrosse line not too long ago, goes to the high side, and now John Abbott slows. That allows that 01 car to get through the 9, and now everybody tries to pass low. They're going high, they're going low, everything inside the top 5.
Yeah, they're going everywhere, and it's funny, you know, Brian, normally we talk about somebody getting hung out to dry on the outside lane, and this time, at Bristol at least, when you're on the inside lane, if you got a line of cars up there on the high banks with the momentum wound up, you can't go anywhere. It's the reverse of what we're normally thinking of.
Yeah, not only is it the reverse, but it is the most frustrating thing as a driver when you know that there's a line of cars coming behind you and you can't do anything about it. You're so aggravated, and it makes you just want to use the car to get up and get clear and just kind of use somebody up. That's not a good spot to be in, but he'll find a spot in line.
Yeah, and you know, you just mentioned somebody using something up. Brian, the 88 of Paul Williams II just used something up about a lap or so ago, lap 72. He squeezed into the outside wall off turn number 4, lost a couple of positions, and now that tax slayer number 88 got his work cut out for him. He's fallen back to the 8th position. He was running about 6th at the time, so a net loss of about 2 spots. And I know you got to watch that safer barrier. You just kind of get sucked into it, but we're seeing that a lot tonight. Oh, and now the battle's on. John Abbott, James Thorndike. This is for 5th, and everybody's bumping everybody. The 10 is holding everybody up right here.
Oh, right in front of our leader, the 23 car's in the fence, and that's John Klickner right there. That was right in front of Jose Gonzalez. The 23 got plastered in the outside retaining wall, and then nearly, as he tried to get off the fence, almost turned down and hooked around Jose. The 26 car just snuck around, but it slowed him up and up to the point that now Adam Benefield is right there within half a car length. We know the 01's faster. He's on fresher tires. If Jose, though, can protect the outside, he's not going to make it easy, and he'll force Benefield to try to get something down low. 01 tried that a little bit ago. Did not work quite yet. We'll see. The top 2 separated by a car length.
No, it's not working right now, and now Benefield surges down to the inside. He just can't get the diamond off the corner, get the run like he needs to make it happen. And Brian, this is a great 3-car battle. We know the 01 and the 9 are quicker than Gonzalez, but Jose's playing defense, and at least right now it's paying off. Look at Ward to the inside.
Oh,
yeah, these guys are
close to that left rear.
These guys are racing real hard right now, and Jose needs to battle. He needs to try to stay in front of Adam right now, because if he can get a long enough run and then catch a caution, they're all going to have to come back down for tires again, and then this is going to have paid off for him big time. So he really needs to fight here and try to stay out front.
Even John, who's holding on to a spot in 6th right now, Evan, the 10 car. I mean, Abbott doing a nice job. That would be a net gain for him, even, you know, falling back from 2nd to 6th as he has right now. He was running back about 19th, 20th, 21st place. So even if he could hold on to something inside the top 10, you would have to consider his staying out somewhat of a success.
Yeah, if you end up in a positive position, and you know, at the end of a long run, if you get back on cycle with everybody else, as long as you're higher than where you were, then it's going to be winning the end of it. You see that 01 car down to the inside. This is going to be a side-by-side fight for the race lead on lap 82 at Bristol. The 01 sideways and wiggles 3-4 times, hangs on. but that's going to usher Jeff Ward down. The 9 car slots into second as Benefield recovers. He'll lose 6 car lengths, drops to third.
I'm not sure if I would call that a rare mistake out of Benefield, Brian, but it's certainly something I'm not used to seeing. That car just lose the handle right there. And look at this, side by side for the lead in turn number 2. Here comes Ward.
Yeah, I think that was just him really trying to make something happen on the bottom. He knows it's going to be hard to pass down there, and he knows that Jeff Ward is right there. And you can see Jose contact. Oh, there they go on the wall.
Gonzalez hits the fence. Ward gets the lead, working lap number 85 now. So the lead change happens at lap 84. Ward out front. You saw the contact. This battle for the lead, Evan, is getting physical.
And Jose apologizing. The 9 car there at Jeff Ward is lucky that not only he didn't get turned up in the defense, but as well Benefield equally is lucky because they both hit Jose, one in the front, one in the back, and it was almost going to be a 3-car pileup. Thankfully, Jose is able to hang on. That Puerto Rican Meatball Company Chevrolet, he does slide back to P3, but now we got Benefield, who tried and almost overdrove the car and almost put it in the fence, try to get around a car on an older tire strategy. Now he's got to try to do it to a guy that's been all over his back bumper all night long, and these two, they're on equal playing fields now.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that, you know, it's a matter of which one, the 9 or the 01, is able to be out front. I feel like these cars, Brian, are so even tonight that there's really no difference for the most part between the two of them as far as, you know, who's capable of leading this race. It's just a matter of who gets there first. But you saw Benefield almost take 2/10 out of it last time by. Maybe you decided, okay, it's time to hit the button.
Yeah, they're even right now, and if they're like this when they get down to the end of the race, it's going to be really interesting. They're being patient with each other, but when it gets down to 10, 15 laps to go, I know as a driver, I'm using that bumper to move him out of the way. I'm not going to sit here and wait behind Jeff. I'm going to move him out of the way.
There's 3 words to describe that feeling. It's Bristol, baby. That's what you do. All right, Thunder Valley working lap number 90. When we come back, we should be just past halfway, and we'll have a shot to take you through the field for the Thunder Valley 200. This is LSRTV and coverage of the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series. Jeff Ward, your leader on the high banks.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. we're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval, and that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself, and they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building 2 tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result, and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
Welcome back to LSRTV, just in time for an American Ethanol green flag restart. We'll recap why the caution happened in just a moment, but we've had several guys stay out as the leaders came to pit road. Scott Simley, the 14, leads the party. Doug Roth, Corbin Himstreet, Matt Lacrosse all staying out, and it's got the fast guys of Jeff Ward, Adam Benefiel, and the rest of the field bottlenecked behind these top 4 as we see side-by-side for third in turn 2, Evan.
It just as they made their way back to the front, working through those cars that had pulled the strategy on the last trip down pit road, they have to do it once again. Side by side are the 9 and the 01. They're stuck behind. Well, another door-to-door battle. You talked about it for P3. 21 on the high side. Give it to Matt Lacrosse. He will clear the 96 on the inside lane. And now we got more trouble behind these guys down the front stretch. John Abbott's turned around, the 18 as well. Looks like Jason Swan's in the fence.
That brings us out under caution right at the midway point of this race with 100 laps complete and a big break for Scott Simley, who leads the party. But, you know, we see the replay now, and 10 and 18, the 2 guys who got into this on the front straightaway, Evan, and heavy black smoke as a result of this incident.
Yeah, John Abbott in that 10 car is stopped pretty much in the middle of the track. The 18 had nowhere to go. You saw the puff of smoke. It happened back into corner number 3. Looks like the 5 machine may have kind of gotten stuck at a huge checkup, and John Abbott got into the back of Scott Gramberg, and it sent the 5 car around, saved it by using the 10 car, but then when you get on that transition where you have left side tires down on the apron and your right side tires are up on a banking, it doesn't really like, the car is not appreciative of that 0 to pretty much straight up to 26 degrees of banking on the bottom lane of the racetrack, Jacob. That sent that 10 machine sideways, thought he had saved it, eventually came back up on track attempting to. The 18 car plows into him in a 2-car incident. Although John did obviously go around, and I do believe he'd be the cause of the caution, he did apologize for the contact with the 5 car down the back.
So, working a caution right at the halfway point, and under this Service Master Clean caution period, Evan gives us a time to take a look at the Ford Performance full field rundown that shows Scott Simley out in front of the party in the Budweiser. Number 14, Doug Roth, the Petty Blue STP 43, rides second. Jeff Ward, the Yeti Coolers entry, third in the 9. Corbin Himstreet, the 96, fourth, and Adam Benefiel, the 01, in fifth. James Thorndike, Jose Gonzalez, Anthony Palumbo, William Kempf, and Paul Williams, the second, the rest of the top 10.
Right now, P11 is the 56 of Wyatt Wolf. Behind him, the 89 of Brian Clark in 12th. 13th is the 7 of Kevin Pearson. Jason Miller in the 73 car is going to be in 14th. Rounding out the top 15 is the 48 of Kevin Linden. A 16th position to Jared Como. Scott Gramberg, 17th. 18th to Greg Omo. You got Danny Sanchez, P19 after starting back in 32nd. And rounding out the top 20 right now, going to be stacking up outside row 10 for the next restart. 65 of Ed Williams Jr.
And working behind Williams in 21st, the 00 of Bradley Havert. Matt Lacrosse in the 21 is 22nd. The last car on the lead lap currently in 23rd, the 10 of John Abbott. Then Stephen Herring 24th, Mark Bratcher 25th, Jason Swan 26th, and Anthony DeBarro 27th. They're all 1 lap down. John Klickner in 28th is 2 down. Then 6 down, 29th is Sean Meyer. The last car on the racetrack at this point. Cars out of the race include Thomas George in 30th, Nathan Little 31st, 32nd David Kamara, 33rd Keith Brooks Jr. That's a look at your Ford Performance full field rundown. Ford, go further. And as we work lap 105, getting set for another restart, we're looking at the points right now that would be as they run. And Evan, it stands to be a huge shakeup. It's going to put Jeff Ward atop the standings because Thomas George, who led the points by 2 coming into this, well, he's in 30th out of this race, I believe.
He is currently sitting in a spot where he's still there, but 33 laps down might as well be out of it. Does have a fair amount of time that if a couple of guys wreck out, he can get a couple of points, but not going to be enough that would allow him to, really maintain anything as far as overall championship-wise. We talked about that there's only 8 races in this season. There's 5 left after this. He can't really afford this as green flag back out.
Yeah, American Ethanol restart on the racetrack as we see the battle for the lead off turn number 2. To the outside goes the 43 of Doug Roth. Takes that spot away from the 14 of Scott Simley. Jeff Ward to the outside going to second. Benefield trapped on the bottom in a place where he doesn't want to be in the 01. He's going backwards in a hurry. They're trying to go 3 wide.
The 9 cars making this look so easy. Jeff Ward just puts it where he wants, and he's been able to have smooth sailing both times, fighting through these lap traffic machines really well. Not lap traffic, but the guys on the strategy, Jacob. The 01, not so much. Benefield's been forced to the bottom right now. He's stuck behind 3-4 of them if the 87 passes him, which he has on the outside lane. So give another spot in the books over the 01 machine to Anthony Palumbo up on the high side, the 14, the 88 as well. Thinking about making it 3 wide is Benefield, but again, stuck on the bottom, nothing he can do. Meanwhile, his counterpart Jeff Ward, right spot at the right time up high. He's in second position as a top 4 single file out, and he's right on the back bumper of that 43. Expect him to try to go for the lead here momentarily.
Yeah, he took a peek inside last time by, but that Yeti Cooler's number 9 falls back into line, at least for the moment. I want to give a call to that RC. Well, I'll give a call to him in a minute. Caution flag on the Speedway at lap number 110.
Not the first time we have seen the 50 of Mark Bratcher turned around. I think it's been once, by his own hands, once with the assistance of another, and this one, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's contact with the 42 car right behind him of Anthony DeBarro. It looks like DeBarro tried to squeeze it on the high side, and the 50 left a little bit of room, not quite enough. And I don't think that's the first time either that the 50 and the 42 have found each other tonight. Nonetheless, Bratcher's in the fence.
No, we talk about rivalries, and Mark jokes sometimes, Evan, that he's got a rivalry with everybody in the field, but after tonight at Bristol, that might not be too far from the truth.
Yeah, and again, almost in a similar situation, and Mark's been able to keep that car sitting 1 lap down, but as well like we've seen with Thomas J. George, like we've seen at points in this race with Matt Lacrosse. Sometimes you're going to get into somebody, fair enough, and it happens. It's very difficult to go 200 laps at Bristol on somebody's door and not slip up one corner, but, sometimes it seems that you're always the one in the position. It's not the guy in front of you, it's not the guy behind you. You always find yourself in a position where you're rubbing doors with somebody, and it just so happens that you go around when somebody else can bounce off each other. When it's not your night, it's most definitely not your night, and well, tonight is not Mark Bratcher's night, as he's 26 to 1 lap down behind the pace car, going to get waved by when the lights go out.
Yeah, he will. And I was going to give him a call just before the caution came out. He just came down pit road for fresh Goodyear Eagles, but the 96 of Corbin Hemstreet in the RCO Boomtown Sim entry doing a fantastic job holding up in the top 3 spots on old tires. Just came down for fresh rubber, so he'll fall back to the tail of the lead lap. But I did want to get that in there because, Evan, he was impressing me just being able to stay up there with Simley, with Roth, and then with Jeff Ward as well, being on fresher tires than everybody else.
Yeah, we take a look at how jumbled up really the top 10 is. We got at least half of them that are there right now that did not start up there. Our leader started 24th. It looks like 3rd through 5th started 11th, 15th, and 12th. You got 10th place to started back in 17th. Only 3 guys inside the top 10 started in a single-digit starting position. Is that shoving up 114 laps into this? The question will be, this is not the final time that we've been to pit lane. Are we going to come full circle, and are we going to see some of these guys like an Adam Benefield, Scott Simley, even a Bradley Hayford, somebody else try to get back up through here, come back up to the front where they started? Or, are we going to be stuck on the end of a race here where it is going to be a final trip down pit road that features that dose of strategy we've seen back-to-back times that does allow us to see a race that's kind of shuffled up like this? Would be great to see that 43 car in victory lane. Don't think it's going to be that easy to hold off the Yeti Coolers up behind Jeff Ward, because I talk about how we've seen him and Benenfield, Jacob, side by side a lot in this race. They've been around each other. They've been up front together. They've been back in the pack together. Both times the 9 car makes it look so much easier. Right place at the right time. We talk about that luck factor, not getting caught up in anything. The 01 basically had a 3 car pick on him the last time he tried to do anything. Jeff Ward, so far, things are looking good.
Yeah, and as we get set for this restart, Evan, if Jeff Ward is able to hold on and win tonight, he'll do something that I'll check with race control after this one's over, but I'm not sure anyone's ever accomplished it in an RSR competition except for Chad Cole, winning in all 3 broadcast series in the same season. I know it's not happened in quite a while. We'll see if the 9 can make it happen tonight, and I thought we were going green. Now we are. Roth to the point, Ward to the inside, fighting for it in turn 1, and how about Anthony Palumbo from the outside? He'll take that 3rd spot away.
And Doug Roth remains on the outside. Jeff Ward trying to get something open on the bottom. The 43 just wound it up and flew off a 2. Top 3 now, single file out, 4-5 now all the way back to the 88 car. Paul Williams the second. He's on the inside fighting with the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. That's a fight for P6. Inside, not the place to be, but the 88 is faster. He holds it door to door with Jose down to 3 and 4.
Yeah, he does. That's the best battle on the racetrack, or it was, until Jeff Ward gave a tap to the STP 43 of Doug Roth. He wants by, and he's got a long line of cars behind him that want by as well, as you see the 88 of Paul Williams falling back in the 87 of Palumbo's in the fence.
He's got heavy damage both sides of that car because the 59 went to the inside to make a move, and you talk about a bump and run, he just straight moved him out of the way. Now we got a caution. Palumbo's not happy, by the way, at all.
No, I wouldn't be either, Evan. I didn't get a
42 again in this one.
I didn't get a really good look at it, Evan, but I would have to imagine the 87 of Palumbo. All I saw was him spinning. I couldn't see the rear deck lid. Did he have some help there?
The car on his inside went to make that move. He didn't hit him in the left rear. He didn't hit him in the back. He just caught him, just a little bit in that quarter panel, to the point that, it turned Palumbo into the fence. Palumbo not going to be the cause of this caution, though. The 42 and the 50 cars have been into each other about 3-4 times tonight, Jacob. They were this most recent incident. The 10 car was slowed, and the 50 of Mark Bratcher just did not lift. That he absolutely just ran over the 42 car on the front straightaway, wrecked both of those machines, and then that's what brought out the yellow. Then the 42 comes back at him. 42 tries to dump the 50 going into corner number 1. Doesn't work. 50 takes him out, and that's about the 5th time that they have wrecked each other so far this evening. A little bit of, Martinsville action maybe with Casey Kane in there.
Oh, and the leaders had to scramble just to avoid that deal, Brian. I mean, I was hollering next to you two because I was watching these guys coming up on them, and it was almost like they didn't know they were there.
Yeah, they probably didn't. You can't see around the corners here, and if your spotter was talking to you about something else, they might not have seen that coming and just might not have said anything to you. At this point in time, the caution was already out, so everybody's trying to settle in and get behind the pace car and figure out what they need to do. That really sucks for Doug Roth because he had to come in and pit because of that.
Yeah, I believe he didn't see it in time and got a little bit of damage right there to his STP entry, so that's going to put Jeff Ward out front. And I'll go back to a point I was starting to make as we were going green, Evan. I believe only Chad Cole has ever done this in RSR broadcast competition. But, you look at these guys winning in all 3 series in the same season. And in fact, I'm going to double check right now because we've only had one prior season of Outlaw Truck Series competition. I don't even know that Cole's done it now that I think about it, because I'm so used to saying Chad's done everything, but, could this be the night where we see Jeff Ward do something that nobody else has ever done before? I'm going to check on that. I'm intrigued now.
Well, right now he's looking poised to do so because, again, it's not easy to go around Bristol and be so smooth each lap. And, sometimes you got to get down, you got to get a little bit rough and be aggressive. But the 9 car, when he does it, he does it with such a grace tonight. he's really just been so smooth, and it's really helped him about a lot. And you've seen a couple of replays there with the couple of incidents of contact with Anthony DeBarro and Mark Bratcher. Bratcher's still out on track. Don't think that race control has handed down, at least in the official penalties throughout the sim, unless they were told to park. But both the 42 and the 50 still on track. They met each other about 5 times tonight, including, I think, 3 back-to-back. We'll have to see how that plays out and if any repercussions come from that as well, rolling forward into our next race in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. Brian, we're finally getting decently into the second half of this race. Boy, this has been every bit as exciting as we anticipated it was going to be.
Yeah, they've been beating and banging, and we still got 75 laps to go. It's going to get even more exciting from here.
I'm looking forward to it. Pace car ready to go away. Jeff Ward has the field in hand now. He leads him back to the green flag, and we are underway with 76 laps to go here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. William Kemp now rolls to the number 2 position, and off turn number 2, we're side by side for third. Jose Gonzalez, and how about Wyatt Wolf, Evan? He's back to play.
Yeah, and there is not a lot of room in that group. They'll single file out for the most part. Oh, the 56, you just said it. He got hit by the 88 car. 3 wide, trying to get around this. The 87's on the bottom and somehow hanging on. They're going to wreck behind him.
Yeah, Kevin Linden was the first one to go around in turn 2 in the 48. That's going to bring out the Service Master Clean caution one more time here at lap number 126. Oh, man. Just when I thought we had something good going.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened with that first incident, because this all started with contact. The 56 you just talked about, and Wyatt Wolf got absolutely hit from in the left rear, rather, by that 88 machine. Pretty much dumped. He was able to hang on to it. They went 3 wide trying to avoid it, and in almost an identical situation with Ed Williams Jr. going in 3 wide right up on the 59 car, and it's that staggering that hurts these guys, Jacob, because if the 48 wasn't there, all he's doing is pinching to 59, but when you get a couple of guys where they're not side by side, you're kind of staggered there, and the 48 car, wasn't way up against the fence because he wasn't compensating for 2 cars on the inside. Next thing you know, as Ed Williams Jr., you run out of room, and he just runs him over. The 48 car gets turned around. Doug Roth, who was just up in front of this field, around as well.
Yeah, so we're back under caution with about 70 laps to go, and I'm not even going to bother to look at my notes and try to count all of them up. I know we've had more than 10 so far tonight, Evan. I'll get a count on it in a minute, but goodness, the carnage is starting to really tally up now. 11 total cautions, almost 50 laps.
Yeah, and if we get at one more caution, even if this one runs through, that's going to be quarter distance in this event. Under yellow, I know we were talking about it on Monday, how that one was almost going to shape out like the IndyCar event, but it is difficult again, and we know Bristol, realistically, you can't come in here expecting to go, 200 laps with, very little cautions, 1 or 2. Because it's just so difficult to run around with these beat cars. There's so much momentum based. You really just got to, be aggressive on it. And that's what we've seen so far. Adam Benefield, though, he, not sure if he's enjoyed this or not because he needs some luck. He needs to get on the outside for a restart. He started on pole. We've seen that he kind of got stuck behind some of these guys on the tire strategy while some of his counterparts didn't. Counterpart being Jeff Ward, who's atop the pile. Adam still finds himself back in 7th, and what that means is, again, going to be on the inside for this next restart. So nothing going his way.
No, and that's hard, Brian, for a guy who dominated so much of the early portion of this race, to be put in one bad spot that ultimately puts you back in the field. I mean, he's got to be frustrated right now.
Oh, frustrated is not even the word that you would use to describe that. This is so horrible because he's got a car that can win the race. He knows he's got a car that can win the race. Jeff Ward, who's leading this race, knows that Adam has a car that can win this race. And it's just so difficult to do. He's going to have to do something different. He's going to have to get more aggressive and start moving people out of the way, and maybe have to use one of these strategies and stay out late and hope that the old tires don't hurt him. I don't know if he can get back up there without doing one of those 2 things tonight.
So we work under the caution flag once again, and Evan, I told you a little bit ago I was going to spend some time under this caution, looking at the stat book and trying to figure out if Jeff Ward was maybe going to make some history tonight. I'm in the process of figuring that out, and the simple answer is absolutely he's going to make some history tonight. As close as anybody's come was Bobby Terrell, who back in 2013 won in the Outlaw Truck Series and the Asphalt Assault Series. Could not pick up a checkered flag in Full Throttle Cup. That's the difference. Ward got his Cup Series victory on Monday night, and we're wrecking again, just as soon as I I try to say one good thing and we're trashed again. It's about 10 cars in turn 4. Good grief.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them again. It's just the fact that if we're at another racetrack, where there's room to get around something, no problem. But what I think you're starting to see is people are just getting pissed off, if you want to be blanked about it. Talk about how Wyatt Wolf, again, had some help from the 88, Jacob, that kind of got the last incident started off. Well, the 88 caught the fence, and the 56 car ran him over and dumped him into the fence.
Okay, under caution. I'm just going to stop trying to have nice thoughts, because it seems like every time, Evan, that I do that...
I don't think anybody out here is playing nice anymore, because that's... I think the last set of cautions, like, last 2 or 3 or 3 or 4, whatever it may be, are incidents that, started when the contact was the other way around earlier. Coincidence or not, hey.
Hey, Benefield's back up to 4th because of all this.
And that means he'll be on the outside, so that's a double dose of good luck.
He finally caught a break right there.
Yeah, he finally did. Anyway, let me try and finish my thought. Real quick, because we're under caution.
We're under caution, so they shouldn't wreck.
Yeah,
We've seen it once tonight, so we'll see.
they shouldn't wreck under caution. Anyway, if Ward wins tonight, he'll be the first guy to sweep, get at least one win in all 3 series in the same season ever. Terrell did 2 out of 3. Cole did 2 out of 3. Never could get all 3 of them done. So Jeff Ward's going for history tonight. That's the bottom line.
And things were looking good for him at 75 to go. Now that we get to 65 to go, and he'll have his buddy there in that 01 car back in, what's going to be P4. If he gets a good jump, or he start more importantly for that 01, if the 22 of William Kemp gets a good restart, that won't allow Jose to get in line. And then you'll see Adam Benefield back up at a podium spot with well over 50 laps to go to work it and see what he can do from that point.
All right, anyway. We're under caution at lap 136, and I will get my head screwed back on straight here, and we'll try this again now that I finally have finished that train of thought. I'll go to this train of thought, Brian Macklin. The Miller Lite Ford of William Kemp. Did anybody expect him to be still second here with 60-ish laps to go? I didn't. That's impressive to me right now.
Oh, well, that's crazy. I mean, these guys have been wrecking so much. And then you look at Williams' car, he doesn't have a lot of damage on the car. He's really kept it clean most of the night. He's got a little bit of right side damage where it looks like he might have gone up against the wall, but for the most part, he's kept it clean. Even Jeff, who's got the lead right now, he's got some right rear damage, some really heavy right rear damage, it looks like. I'm impressed with William as well. I'm also impressed with Jose Gonzalez and Corbin Hemstreet. There's a lot of guys up here that have done a good job despite all the wrecks.
Indeed. I'm apparently choking in my seat over here. I was trying to go for indeed, Evan. Maybe I just need to let you take this restart. It seems like the last 10 laps we've had nothing but problem.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We're still sitting, though, 21 cars at a lead lap in this after what was 33 that started. Dwayne Vincent was scheduled to be the 34th car. Didn't do anything to practice, didn't do anything qualifying, so he did not start this event. But still got 2/3 of this back on a lead lap. Green flag back in the air for Jeff Ward, and it worked exactly in favor of Adam Benefield. The 26 of Jose Gonzalez, not too much damage. He'll slide back to 4th. We're side by side, 5th on back, with the top 3 all over each other, and already Benefield to the inside for 2nd.
Yeah, Benefield wants that runner-up spot. He can't get the forward bite off the corner and falls back into 3rd. But boy, it is just a madhouse from about 5th on back. Asen Miller, Palumbo, Hemstreet, Simley's in this mix. It's a mess back there, Brian.
Yeah, these guys are going crazy. There's 60 laps to go. It's time to go. And we've already seen a lot of tempers. It's not going to get any better. They're going to keep racing this hard. They're going to start using the bumper. This is where you're going to see a lot of bump and runs and probably a lot more wrecks.
Hemstreet to the high side in that 96 machine, trying to work around the slower 73 of Jason Miller. That's going to be a battle for the 8th position as James Thorndike in the 59 tags the fence up ahead of them. 60 laps to go. This most recent time by Thorndike tried a dive bomb on Scott Simley. It may cost him a position. No, he slides up in front of Corbin Hemstreet. So that Race Chaser Online Performance Motorsports Network number 96 holding on right there on the outskirts of the top 10, right in 8th, and they're getting into the fence behind him. It's a mess.
Yeah, you got that 89 of Brian Clark at the outside wall, 65 to the inside. He still does not have control of it. He'll get down and out of way. Hesitating to call this single file, Jacob, because nobody's in line. We got guys on the bottom, driving up back to the high side to go into the corner. It is just a mess. There's a lot of scrambling going on. You see the 88 and the 1 car side by side. It's Paul Williams the second, fighting with the number 1 machine, who again is quite a few laps down. Thomas J. George. A lot of those guys again have had issues so far tonight. For a moment, single file now to the inside goes the 14 of Scott Simley. He wants a spot for the 87 of Anthony Palumbo.
And he'll get it, too. Nice job to the inside off turn number 4. And how about the 59 of James Thorndike? Trying to get the 2-for-1 special off turn 2. He goes to the inside of Palumbo, makes the pass. Now all of a sudden, Palumbo gives a shot to the 96 of Corbin Hemstreet. He's going to lose a couple of spots. I don't think that Wrangler number 87 is cooperating any longer. Caution, there it is.
Yeah, trouble
Doug
down
Roth turned to 65.
Number 1. We got a whole bunch of people slow. Oh, still wreck it as everybody tries to get around it down low. The 98 of Stephen Herring in the General Mills Chevy Camaro. He stopped in a bad position. He was one of those guys that just tried to get around it. It starts with, it looks like down in corner 1 all the way up here with the 65 of Ed Williams Jr., who was in an incident just a couple of laps ago, was working the inside. He was under attack from Doug Roth, and looks like the 43, although he wasn't giving him a whole lot of room, came down the slightest bit, turned Ed around, and that was a really high-speed, violent incident to get turned into the outside wall at still 95. He comes down to 91, plows into him. The 89 gets into the 91. Then you got Stephen Herring, and at that point, the track is completely clogged, and, you get about 6-7 guys with some extent of damage.
New leader Adam Benefiel. He stays out. The leaders are in, Evan.
Yeah, the strategy going to come into play once again because Jose Gonzalez had a Benefiel stay out. The 9 car of Jeff Ward down for service once again, as we've seen all time tonight. 4 tires, him as well as the 22, the 59, and then as well the 73. All exit pit lane on that same 4-tire strategy call.
So as we circulate under caution, we're going to take one more break and come back for the finish of the Thunder Valley 200 in just a moment. Here on LSRTV, Adam Benefiel, your new leader at Bristol.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Welcome back to LSRTV, gearing up for, I believe, our 14th American Ethanol green flag of the night, wrapping up what should be our 13th caution flag here at Bristol. 61 laps of this race have been run under the yellow at the moment, and Adam Benefiel in the Roll Speed Dynamics 1UP Motorsports number 01 Ford Mustang stayed out. He leads the field back to green, gets the jump over Jose Gonzalez, and slides up to that top spot. The guy who has been fast all night, Jeff Ward, rides in the 6th spot on the restart. He was not able to make any headway. He is still in 6th as they're scrambling, and a Gonzalez in the wall in the 26.
Gonzalez is in the wall. We got about 2-3 battles going on between about P5 through 10th down the back and down through 1 and 2 again. Looks like the 9 car is going to be able to get clear in front of that 56 of Wyatt Wolf, who is recovering after being able to get up to a top 5 spot. Jacob got turned around. Now on that strategy, finds himself back up there. But now you got that nod at Jeff Ward. He's done it successfully 2 times in a row, getting around cars that make the tire strategy call to come down. This time, he's going to have to do it once again. However, his counterpart, Adam Benefiel, tops the pile. So if he's able to get around everybody else, not an easy task if he's even able to get there. He fights with the 96 car up on the outside lane right now. That's Corbin Hemstreet. Now we got trouble behind them. Caution flag down, and it looks like it's in 1.
It is in turn 1, trying to get a read on who is involved. Evan, I'll say this, it's been a long night for everybody. And
looks like
it almost
4.
I'm looking in the wrong spot. The 91, it was over in turn number 4. So that's what's going to drop us under caution. Greg Omo.
Yeah, this started in front of him, Stephen Herring. I was going to say that it was getting really ugly on that start because Steve's working with a really beat-up race car. He got sideways when he went down into corner number 3 and nearly clipped that 7 machine just shy of the right rear of Kevin Pearson. If he hit him, that would have been a vicious incident for the 7. Stephen then overcorrects, gets up into the fence, and just avoids the 91, who evidently ducks low, and the 50 of Mark Bratcher for not quite the 50th time tonight, but again, another incident in that where just wrong place at the wrong time. 91 tries to avoid an incident. He takes the nose off of Mark. Mark's able to drive away from this, and it's the 91 of Greg Omo who goes around, back up into the outside wall, and the Steve Herring into Doug Roth. And we return back to the caution flag now with inside of 50 laps to go. So we are in the final quarter of this race. Each caution, though, can be crucial, much like it was to Adam Benefiel. We were talking about how he was, stuck on the inside in P7, stuck on the inside in P5. Got lucky, got to the outside, got to a top 3. Well, Jeff Ward in a good spot when this one flies because he'll be P4 and on the outside of row 2 for the next restart.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and as of right now, Evan, I know we still got 40 laps to go, but I'm prepared to go ahead and give my Good Hands Move of the Race award to the guy who currently leads the party, Adam Benefiel, because about 30 laps ago, he was back in about 12th place. He had gotten pinned on the inside of the racetrack and was going absolutely nowhere. Now, he catches a couple of breaks, gets the track position, stays out to assume the lead, and now here he is, coming up on maybe a chance to win at Bristol. I like the 01. Are you ready to... are you reserving judgment, or you want to give one out here?
Gotta like the 01 because he's had to do it the hard way again. I've said that Jeff Ford has, maybe not had an easier time. That's not the right way to describe it, but has made it look easier. Getting back through this. We're going to get the 2 to green this time by. Benefiel really was in a bad spot to the point where there was 3 guys all over each other in front of him. He could have easily, ended up in a position like the 1 car of Thomas J. George here. Was able to cut a break in that, and the fact that he got a yellow, got back in a good spot, got lucky 1 or 2 cautions back-to-back, got up to the front. But it's the tire strategy as well, equally as so with Jeff Ward, that we're going to see. Talked about how if we get a couple cautions at the end, we can see that strategy become a determining factor. Now we will. And not to count out the guys like Jose Gonzalez, Scott Simley, Corbin Hemstreet that are in the middle of these guys, but if the things go like we have seen in these first 3 quarters, I feel like Jeff Ward is going to find out a Benefiel, and then we'll see who was right.
Yeah, we will. Still under caution here at lap number 160. I think we're gearing up for the restart, though, so it should come with about 39 laps to go, I believe. So shaping up for it, or 39 or 40 as we work off turn number 2. I think it's going to come this time, so it'll actually be with 40 laps to go here at the last
we're wrecking
great...
under yellow. We got big trouble. The 88 of Paul Williams, the second. He is turned around. He got hit by Ed Williams Jr. under the caution flag. The 91's around as well. We're still going green, but we've got cars wrecked on the backstretch.
Yeah, we've got cars wrecked on the back straightaway. Leaders are going to be have to really be careful when they get there. I think everything's clear and we're good to go. Battle's on for 4th. Now the caution flag flies. Dwayne, that's coming from race control. They put the caution back out right there.
Yeah, and they did not have enough time to get that up, but that is for the incident down the back straightaway. The 88 machine got hit. It was one of those situations where, this can happen at any racetrack, Jacob, and, you hate to see it here because it just adds on to what a rough night it's been, but just a checkup where the 88 car comes up a little bit faster on the 42 than he would have thought. The 42 car of Anthony DeBarro not really all that close to the back bumper of the 6 machine in front of him. A little bit more spacing than everybody would have predicted. And in the end, it is a damaged race car that you're asking to really get on the binders with Ed Williams Jr. Got into the 88. 88 got turned around, and then the 91 ended up in the fence. Just not a good situation at all for any of those guys.
All right, so, Brian, I'll go to you now. I think Evan and I have been hollering enough here for a little bit. I'll go back to the voice of reason. 37 laps to go when they get back to the stripe, and Adam Benefield's got to be feeling pretty decently about this caution coming out the way it did, because what that does, first off, is it pins Jeff Ward back on the inside, but second, that's less green flag laps he's got to put on his tires.
Yeah, but I think he's got a fast enough car where he can stay up there even if he is on old tires. This has been a wild race. I've really enjoyed watching this tonight. I feel bad for Jeff because he restarted on the outside line. He got a good restart. The 96 was able to dive it off in there and get in front of him before race control threw that caution back out, and now he's pinned on the inside like you said. I like Adam Benefield, but I also like Jose Gonzalez. He's on the inside in 3rd, and he's been beat up pretty bad like everybody else has, but he's still got a really good shot here.
Yeah, by the way, Evan, did we mention Benefield qualified on the pole tonight? I feel like somewhere along the way we probably did, but it's been so long since he's actually been out front.
Yeah, it's been and it was something that we talked about right at the halfway point. They said that we only had 3 guys inside the top 10 that started in single-digit starting positions. That number has only increased to 4. But the question I posed is, was that, to a description, going to come full circle? Well, it has for that 01 camp because they're back at the top of the pile. Scott Simley's doing pretty good. He started 8th. He's up to 2nd right now. But how about Corbin Hemstreet? Haven't, really talked about the 96 unless it's been an incident so far. You said that nobody was going to get out of here with a clean car. Thought maybe our leader, Benefield doesn't look all that bad, but his front clip is, pretty damaged from an earlier incident. So really, that the prediction came to fruition. Nobody really looking all that stout out there. Corbin Hemstreet, though, going to be P4. That forces Jeff Ward to the inside for this next restart in P5. So the 96 car can really turn his race around after being caught up in a couple of incidents. Unlike some people who, may have been caught up in equally as many, find themselves out of the race. He's still in the spot to get a top 5 out of it.
The closest guy to a clean race car is Jeff Ward. I'll just go ahead and say that. He's got a little bit of right rear damage, Brian, but I think that's the closest anybody is to a clean car.
Yeah. Well, you don't come into Bristol expecting to come out with a clean race car. You know before the race even starts you're going to have some bent fenders and a lot of damage to the car. The crew's going to have a lot of work, but they're not going to be upset about it.
Getting ready to go. We're going to have a restart with 34 laps remaining. Benefield, Simley, Gonzalez, Hemstreet, green flag. Simley did not get a good restart. That could be good news for Jeff Ward. He plows to the inside in turns 1 and 2. Not sure he's going to get clear of Hemstreet, but he's going to give it a shot. No, down the back straightaway.
And that's side-by-side, 2 rows deep with that 26 car. The 9 working the inside, the 14th, the 96 work the outside. A very similar situation to what we saw Adam Benefield find himself earlier is where Jeff Ward finds himself. He needs a way through. Clear for P2. Now the 14 of Scott Simley, the successful defense on that 26. The 96 now trying to do the same thing. So Jose Gonzalez trying to do the inside, and it's not working quite yet. Hanging on for the moment, but off of 2, slowly losing ground on the 2 cars up high.
Yeah, he is. How about Ward to the outside right there? And now Gonzalez is going to be quickly a lonely man down on the bottom. He's got James Thorndike in the 59 coming. He's got the 56 of Wyatt Wolf coming. And Gonzalez and the Meatball Mobile going to be shuffled back as Ward now to position number 4. The problem is Benefield's already built himself a buffer of over a second from himself to the guy that has been as fast or faster than he all night long.
The 01 car starting to get up into that territory where he's really close to the fence. Jeff Ward knows that he can't wait around much longer, statistically speaking.
Oh, trouble in turn number 4! James Thorndike around. Caution flag flies. Wyatt Wolf was there. The 2 of them made contact, and that puts us under the yellow at lap 171. The 59 and the 56 were the 2 cars to get into it to...
God, it was such a high-speed incident. Like, you know, it's not one of the fastest tracks we go to, but they made contact, and it's almost like nobody lifts because everybody's still flying through there, bouncing off each other, diving to the inside. So then that 59 car ended up in the inside fence. That was Thorndike who was behind, what initially had happened there, where Wyatt Wolf ended up going all the way around, and you had the 73, the 41, the 59, the 89, a whole bunch of guys kind of scrambling there. Good news for them, Jacob, was it happened in 3, so they had a little bit more apron to use than if it happened down the back straightaway. But again, you talk about timing. Just as Jeff Ward goes from 4th to 3rd, making that pass, the caution comes out. That's the difference between being on the inside or the outside for the row 2 restart.
That's exactly what it is. And as we work, we're coming down to about 25. I think it's going to be, by the time we get the restart, 24 laps to go. And I give a call to the 2 Boomtown Sim guys. Jared Como started 33rd on a provisional, up to 7th. Corbin Hemstreet started 27th, up to 4th. These 2 have used crazy pit strategy all night. They're getting it done, flying their new colors proudly. And, at Bristol, Brian, you take positions any way you can get them. The RCO Boomtown Sim team doing a nice job tonight.
Yeah, you said it. You take positions any way you can get them. There's all take and no give, and especially now here at the end of this race. I am really impressed, like you said, with both of those 2 drivers from that team. They have done an incredible job. I'm also really impressed with Scott Simley. He's sitting up there in 2nd place still. He's been beat up a lot. He's been in the way of several times, and he still managed to get back up to the top or up to 2nd and stay up there. He's going to come away with a good finish, I think.
Ouch, Evan. I think that's the first time in a while I've heard somebody say the guy in 2nd has been in the way.
Yeah, we'll see what this 9 machine can do, because again, if that caution was in turn 2, Jeff would be on the outside in 4th. Now, we've seen times tonight that somehow that 3rd place machine gets something to work, but it all depends on, again, what everybody else does around him. And I was going to say right as they started the wreck that Jeff Ward making a move knowing that statistically speaking, we weren't going to go these final 30 laps on one stretch of green flag racing. Question for him is now how can he get himself in a position where he can get up to crack the top 2 really, and then be able to go head to head with Benefield here by the time we get down to eventually a caution that could make it a really short shootout, or even a caution that could end the race.
Brian, is Adam Benefield, has he made his bed and now he's got no choice but to sleep in it, staying out on these tires all the way to the end?
Oh yeah, 25 to go. There's no time to come back down the pit road. You got to stay out and ride it out from here.
We're going to see if it's going to pay off with a win or not. Benefield, green flag. How about Ward? Trying to jump on the binders, jump on the gas, do anything he can. Battling for 2nd in turn number 2. Sails it in and trying to get clear of Scott Simley. He can't do it. Down the back straightaway. They're wheel to wheel for the runner-up spot.
That's a crucial position for that number 9 car. It determines if he'll be on the front row or not. If we get another yellow and he's door to door, had it at the stripe by 2/1000ths of a second, but here comes the 14 battling back as the first fight on the racetrack. The longer they fight, though, goodbye Adam Benefiel. 0.6 of a second and gaining for the 01 car, still neck and neck at a 4.
It's neck and neck. They come to the stripe. That time, I think Simley. Dead. The Sim gave it to Simley because he was the one coming forward. Simley got a little bit loose off the corner. Ward trying to squeeze him up. He nearly squeezes him into the fence. They're battling it again. This is a great fight for the runner-up spot. Ward gets it by 5/1000ths, and they make contact.
Well, he's diving a corner off at a 14. 3/1000ths, then a tie, then 5/1000ths, and still going at it. There's the break he needed. The 14 cars, the defense up through, puts the door on him, and clear for the number 9, Jeff Ward, up to P2. He needs a yellow, though. He's 1 second off now as Adam Benefiel used those 5 laps of side-by-side battling to really get clear. First fight now goes for P4, the 22 of William Kemp, fighting the 96 car up in the high side playing defense. That's Corbin Hemstreet.
Yeah, and the question's going to be how much time can Jeff Ward make up on the 01 of Benefiel per lap. Now Benefiel is praying for this to go green until about 6 laps to go and then have a caution flag because that would end it. Right now, we're amazingly going green for the moment. Ward was about 3/4 of a tenth faster that time by. Problem is, he has got 17 laps to work with to catch the 01 of Benefiel. That's barely going to be enough time if they stay green all the way to the end, which I doubt.
And if you have to use that much time to just get up to him, you're going to be there right before the white flag. Unless you just run him over the first time you get to the bumper, that's not going to be enough time to really put up a legitimate fight for it. We saw that he was able to make the move on the inside, not without contact with Scott Sibley. I don't know if it'll be that easy with that of Benefiel as that gap now goes back up to 1 second. I think he'll need a yellow. 15 laps to go the next time by as Benefiel works through 3 and 4. We'll cross the start-finish line, crossing over 185 to 186. Make it at 15 laps to go. Question is, with 19 cars at a lead lap, do we go green forward that distance? Got a good fight for P10.
Listen, I'm not saying we're not going to go green to the end or that we're not going to have a caution as Jared Como is in a heated battle for that 10th spot with the 59 of James Thorndike there and the 43 of Doug Roth as well. That's the best battle on the racetrack at the moment. And again, we sit down and talk about this. Benefiel starting to lose some time now. Ward made up a 10th last time by.
Como just got turned in the corner and saved it after he got plowed in the driver's side door. It was contact from Doug Roth. Twice the 7 car hit him, and somehow that straightened him out.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Evan?
Rex make a save, I guess. That's how that math works.
Brian, I don't know. I don't know right now. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what to say either. That was crazy. That was that might be the wildest wreck I've ever seen.
A wreck that wasn't actually a wreck. They did everything, including wreck, and there was still no caution. Jeff Ward is really starting to close on Benefiel now. It's down to 3/4 of a second with 10 laps to go. He's turned up the heat trying to get there. The problem is getting there is one thing, passing him's another. Could we see the Bristol Chrome Horn? 10 laps to settle it.
And it looks like the ending stint in this where the caution is needed the most about a 9 car, maybe one of the longest runs we see throughout the entire race. He's up to 0.6 of a second. Third is not an issue because Scott Simley, Hemstreet, Gonzalez, all of those guys, 2.3 seconds plus out of this. But he really needs to get going now with inside 10 laps to go. Not only does he really need to start picking up at least a 10th a lap, but if he wants a caution, he needs it in about the next minute.
Yeah, he does, because if he doesn't get it, we're going to be all sorts of done, and he's just going to have to hope there's no caution in the last 5 laps. 8 to go at the stripe. It's down to half a second between the 01 and the 9. Ward is coming. There's 1 lap car up ahead of your race leaders. Could that play a factor?
You see when Jose Gonzalez led this race, lap cars side by side, lap cars in the fence. Greg Omo, not going to be a factor. The 91 car sees the leaders coming. He goes down to the bottom. He yields and lets Benefiel go on high. If anything, they've affected the 01 if we wanted to really damn a corner. There's a caution. Caution flag is out for our race leaders. I think that's going to be just in time for one more restart. It'll be close.
Yeah, we may have a one-lap shootout on our hands here. This could be big. And I think it's the 65 again. Ed Williams Jr. self-spun to bring out this caution that is going to set up a battle of the Titans here at Bristol.
It started as a self-spin because I don't know if he was, he's in a Ford, but, not quite a Gymkhana-esque vehicle, but he tried to, drift that entire corner. Evidently, when you're going slow in front of a side-by-side battle, he got hit by that 14 behind him. Scott Simley turns him around, and he gets a pretty good lick in the door from the number 96 of Corbin Hemstreet. Caution flag flies. This comes out at lap 194 of 200, so that, that's going to put you right on the time for maybe a one-lap shootout. Two, if you're really lucky. We'll have to keep eyes fixated on the lights on top of the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car to see. The 9 car is going to be on the front row. Most importantly, Jeff Ward will be on the outside. You're only going to really get one shot at this, though.
Yeah, I mean, the big question is how good of a restart can Adam Benefiel get? He's going to have to time it perfectly in order to get away from Ward here. And Brian, that's got to be the hardest part right now if you're Benefiel. And for any of these guys, like yourself even, who is out front in the closing stage of a race, you get something like this happen, you're on older tires, and all you're thinking about is you just have to nail the restart of your life right here.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very antagonizing feeling, especially when the caution comes out this close to the end of the race. And if it had happened one lap later, we wouldn't even have to be discussing this because they wouldn't be going back green. This could get really crazy. I'm excited to see if Jeff can hang with him. If Jeff gets a good restart on the outside, it's going to be interesting.
It seems only appropriate, doesn't it, Evan, that after the night we've had, it all comes down to a one-lap shootout at Bristol. What a way to end this.
To a description, it is very fitting, that shootout-esque, end that we're going to see, which is pretty much what this race has been made out of, is handfuls of short stints, really capitalizing in a short amount of time, and forcing these drivers into a spot where it's Bristol, so you're not really going into a Bristol race that calculated to start, but, they really haven't had times where they can get spread out, kind of trace the guy, try to set somebody up for a pass. You just got to go for it. It's exactly what that number 9 car is going to want to do, and again, not only is it going to be a checkered flag, but we talked about it earlier in the race, trying to do something that nobody else has done before. Lights are out on the pace car. We have one lap with the 01 and the 9 cars on the front row, and we have half a mile to decide this. Not saying that we can't wreck before we even get to the stripe, so technically we can still end under yellow, but it's going to be a one-lap shootout. If they wreck at that point, it's going to the end no matter what.
Oh boy, fasten your seatbelts, race fans, because this one's about to get good. From Thunder Valley, 199 laps, and it all comes down to what you do right here. Half a mile separates one of the front row from victory lane, or could they both wad it up and somebody get away? Green flag back in the air. We're going to get to the line and we're going to race this out to the checkered flag. Benefiel takes the green and the white together, and Jeff Ward's on the attack in one. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Corbin Hemstreet's going for third. Ward pitches it hard into turn number 3. He's trying to get there. They almost make contact. Adam Benefiel wins at Bristol.
Gave it everything he had and didn't wreck him for it. Got to the left rear as close as you can without getting into him and didn't do it. Great finish. That's how you want to see it decided. How about Corbin Hemstreet? 27th is where he started. That thing has beat the hell, and he gets a third as well, but great finish for the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin in a substitute role for Chris Hurlow. How about that? And Benefiel finally burning it down on the front straightaway. Seems like this has been a long time coming, hasn't it been, Brian? I mean, this is overdue.
Yeah, he's had a rough season in the Full Throttle series, and he's had an okay run so far in this series here, but this has got to be a great feeling. You've had a rough start to the year. You just want to go out there and get a win. This could turn his whole season around.
And Benefiel, I think he just stalled the motor out. He's done burning it down on the front straightaway, so we're going to take a break and come back for the Gary Mercer Trucking post-race show in just a moment. Benefiel, your winner. We're back from Thunder Valley in a moment. here on LSRTV.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Welcome back to LSRTV as we get set to round down what has been a wild night from the Bristol Motor Speedway, the Asphalt Assault Series. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko, Brian Macklin in the broadcast booth getting ready to head down to pit road. And first, Evan, real quickly, I'll turn to you because what we saw at the end was a one-lap dash and a sheer case of will triumphing over physics.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that happened tonight that maybe, shouldn't have happened. And it comes down to will. And again, there was not a calculated, move. Very rarely, I think we saw him all night long. It was about flying with the seat of your pants and really trying to take, an opportunity and capitalizing on said opportunity, to finish in times where you didn't have long green flag runs. And that was summarized perfectly in a situation that Jeff Ward found himself in where no time at the end. He couldn't set it up. He had to go right to the bottom, which hurt him in the end. And he got so close, gave it everything he got. But I like how they didn't wreck each other for it. Adam Benefiel stayed up against the fence. He gave Jeff all the room in the world. And it's good when you can have a good finish like that, and the top two aren't yelling at each other. Maybe everybody else is, but not the top two.
Indeed, and as we migrate now down to pit lane, first guy up on the totem pole is the guy who comes up third in a substitute role. I know how big this is for RCO Boomtown Sim, the whole operation tonight. Corbin Hemstreet, you put yourself, after having to start from pit lane, on the podium tonight. Spirited drive. You get it by about 3/100ths of a second at the checkered flag, and I have to imagine your buddy Christopher Hurlow right now has got to be smiling about this.
Yeah, he was pretty pumped, and he's had a pretty rough couple days. So hope it really helps him out. I know he's in a lot of pain tonight, so I was kept thinking about him in the car, wondering how much better he'd be doing than me, because I just could not stay out of trouble. So I was really glad it worked out at the end. I was able to get him a good finish.
You get him a good finish. Talk about how chaotic that race was, from the cautions to your staying out late in the race to try and get track position. And were you nervous at the end, knowing how much older your tires were than some of these guys, and just trying to hang on to it?
Oh yeah, just clawing to stay in that position. Yeah, it's just no place to hide at Bristol. It's action at every single corner. So we got involved in a lot of action tonight. So a lot of damage, and then old tires out there. But it's just a one groove racetrack. Nobody could get around underneath me. So I just got lucky the way the restarts happened there at the end, and put myself in a position to have a shot at it. But third's a great finish for Chris. I hope that helps him in points.
It certainly will boost him in the points. He was 7th coming into this, but I know that's going to be a much better result coming away, at least going to get him up a couple spots from where he was. But for you, Corbin, just to have a good result finally in any RSR series, you guys have had terrible luck all the way through. I mean, just for team morale, I know this is going to do a lot tonight.
Yeah, it was a really good finish. I really wish I could have done it in my own car, but I'm glad to help out. We've had some bad luck, some that's been created, but we've had a couple top 10s, couple top 5s, so not really looking to turn it around, but hopefully we can take some momentum from this.
And of course, I know you can't do it by yourself. The new color's been on for a couple weeks, but sponsors, team shout-outs, people, who makes it happen for you and the crew?
Well, first of all, I got to thank our awesome sponsors, Speed 77 Radio, Race Chaser Online, and Performance Racing Network. You can check them out for today's racing and yesterday's racing history at racechaseronline.com, performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. And then I really got to thank my spotter, Anthony. He got involved in a lot of wrecks early, and he was able to help me out there late. And then Jared Como, he's really, really developing as a driver. He had a really, really great run tonight up in the top 10. Just couldn't get to the finish line with it, but really excited about what he's going to do here in the future.
Well, Corbin, I know this is one result that you guys can build on, and one that is going to mean a lot to you guys tonight. So go celebrate with the crew. Congratulations.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
That's Corbin Hemstreet, and now I'll throw it up to the other end of pit road, where I believe, Evan Pasoko, you've caught up with the guy who came so close and just wasn't going to wreck him.
Yeah, we talked about how entering tonight he was the highest driver in the championship standings. Without a trip to victory lane, 2 races in, now 3 in, he remains that title, but we can just say he's at the top of the board in general after entering 2 points behind Thomas J. George. A rough night for the one team, but a pretty solid night, I'd say, for that number 9 camp. Jeff Ward takes over the championship lead, just 1 race shy of the halfway point in this 2015 Asphalt Assault Series campaign. Jeff, it was a very interesting night with the strategy, with the cautions, the short stints, everything all together there. There were points where you were in front and you had Benefiel right behind you. There were points where he was in front and you were right behind him. At the end, it was a strategy called by that 01 camp, and I guess for you guys in the same right, that put you back with some other people. You had to fight through to get the second, and a one-lap shootout was all they gave you to get a last shot at it. Walk us through what the night was from second to second, really. Finish where you started, but it was a long journey in between.
Yeah, first off, hats off to Adam. He drove a great race there. Me and him definitely were both in survival mode tonight. And it was just a lot of cautions. We really had to work the pit strategy and hope that things would go green, and then hope that we wouldn't have a caution. It was just a lot of back and forth, and like you said, Adam got tied up a little bit towards about 8th place, and I was up in the lead, and then the roles kind of reversed there. So then I had to try to run him down there at the end, and we had that final caution. I'm not sure if I could have got there. It would have been close, and then like I was telling Adam, if I could have got to him, there's probably nothing I could have done once I got there. So all in all, it's a great points night for us, and just to get out of there alive is a step forward.
Yeah, it was a rough night for a lot of people, and you guys made the best out of it. And again, was right there at the back bumper in the final set of corners, trying to get the job done. Officially going to be 1/10 short on that marker. You do enter tonight, and it's a statistic that we had to look up that maybe you might not even be aware of, but you're tied for the most wins in each series so far on a televised series campaign. You've won so far in the Full Throttle Cup Series as well in the Outlaw Trucks. Nobody has ever won in one single season from all 3 divisions. We obviously see that you sit atop the championship standings, so we expect you to be out here, and we expect that team to be competitive as you guys have been for the first 3 races through these next 5. Now, kind of knowing that statistic, would it be kind of cool to know that you might be able to, set a record and do something that nobody else has done before in a league like RSR that's stacked so full of good competition?
I mean, yeah, Evan, that'd definitely be special for me and for the team. We got a stretch of tracks here coming up that I think I like, and hopefully we can go out in the Xfinity car and get a win. It's definitely not easy. These guys bring it every week, and so far we've been running pretty good, but you never know when that luck's going to run out. So far we've had the rabbit's foot here, so at least the past couple weeks, so hopefully we can I'd definitely like to close the deal on that.
You sit right now again, yet with a trip to victory lane. The bigger picture is that championship standings. Really, we just got started 3 races in, but now 5 races to go in this series. 2 weeks' time going to be next time out. We're with these Xfinity cars on a Wednesday evening. Going to be at a racetrack that is very different than Bristol. Going to be at Talladega. I know there's been a fair amount of talk about the new draft to build on iRacing. How do you think that these B cars get a fare out there, and what's going to be the game of attack heading into that one?
I'm looking forward to Talladega. I'm not real crazy about super speedways, but I know that I have good teammates that I'm going to be able to go out there and draft with and work together with, and hopefully at least one of us can get up there and get a win. But it'll definitely be interesting at Talladega. That's kind of one of those survival tracks, just like Bristol and Martinsville, and so we'll just go out there and try to keep our nose clean and see what happens.
You survived this one for a P2. Sponsors and shout-outs, all of those good people behind the scenes. Who makes this kind of a run possible for you in that number 9 Ford? Or Chevy, my bad.
Well, I'd like to thank my buddy Mike Bailey. He spots for me when he can. And just Steel Horse Racing. Them guys help out a lot. And all my other sponsors. Thanks to RSR, LSRTV.
All right, well, thanks for taking a moment to talk with us, Jeff. Again, congratulations to you and the team for a valiant effort up the second there. We saw you giving it everything you could there, keeping it clean at the end. You lead as the top of the championship standings. We wish you the best of lucks and all things RSR, but the next time we'll see you out with this series will be at Talladega. We look forward to that one.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Again, it is the driver that comes home in second this evening and tops the championship standings at a Bristol. Driver the number 9 car, Jeff Ward, comes home in P2. Now down to the elevated victory lane down in the infield at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Down in with our winner, Adam Benefield, Jacob Seelman. You've caught up with a driver that had to hang on to that one to the last couple of 100 yards.
Oh, did he ever. And down here in Gatorade Victory Lane with a guy who has worked and worked and worked and worked and worked some more to try and finally get over that threshold. Adam Benefield, you do it tonight on tires that are 50 or 60 laps older than everybody else. Somehow you managed to hang on, hold off Jeff Ward, who arguably had, equal with you as far as the best car all night. How, on a one-lap dash, did you make that work to get away and ultimately drive this car into victory lane?
I just tried to hit my marks and, not screw up what I've been so good at here lately. I just got a good start, good jump on the restart, and was able to get up to the outside and, I knew it was going to be hard. I mean, it's hard when no matter, how fresh of tires you got, it's hard, period, to run on the bottom. And I just hit my marks and kept looking forward.
You look forward, and it puts you in victory lane for the first time in RSR broadcast competition this season, Adam. After everything you've been through on the Cup side, how much does it mean to you and your guys to finally put one away here?
It feels good, I mean, I like running these races just like the real Cup guys. It gives you extra track time for, the Monday night races. So it felt good to come out here, work on my line a little bit, and really cool to walk away with the win. And just need to carry that momentum over to the Monday night series, and start taking care of business over there.
I know you're trying to do that. You're a former winner in the Asphalt Assault Series. This one, your 5th career victory in the Xfinity Cars and RSR competition. So I know you're looking forward now to Monday night and translating this to the Cup side. How much can you take away from this race that you can apply going forward to make the same thing happen in a couple days' time?
Truthfully, there's probably not going to be a whole lot I can take over from what I learned tonight. Just simply working on my line. Bristol is not my favorite track on here, and I'm surprised we ran as well as we did tonight. But the track time, working on my line just a little bit more, and working on pit strategies. I think that's going to be really key for Monday night. So we played it right, and we seen the scenario, what would happen with the scenario we played tonight. So maybe we might try it on Monday night. You never know.
I'm looking forward to finding out, I can tell you that much. But before we let you go, of course, you're the defending champion of this series. You finally get back to victory lane. I know you can't do it by yourself. Sponsors, shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you and the 01 crew?
One Up Motorsports. Those guys, those are my brothers, my family. I love them. They push me. We have good times. It's love all those guys. And One Up Motorsports, Roll Speed Dynamics, Addis Signs and Wraps, Southern Speed and Fabrication. Just y'all guys here, y'all do a heck of a broadcast. And just my wife and kids, I need to thank her. It's because she let me come back here and do this. My wife, I love her, and my 2 beautiful babies, I love them.
I was going to say, it's got to be fun having those 2 new little ones around, doesn't it? Makes the wins a little bit more fun to celebrate, Adam. Go celebrate with the One Up crew. Congratulations. You're a winner in Thunder Valley, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
That's it from down here in Gatorade Victory Lane. Let's start going and looking through the Ford full field rundown. Evan Pasoko, how about it?
Yeah, we talked to the top 3. Adam Bettefield ends victorious. The top 2 ended exactly where they started, but it was that middle portion which was quite the interesting one. Bettefield walks away with the win. Second to Jeff Ward, Corbin Hemstreet in third. How about a P4 for the 14 of Scott Simley? William Kemp fights through one in that Miller White Ford to come home in fifth. Sixth position to Brian Clark. You got Anthony Palombo, who had a rough night. He's able to sneak away with a seventh. Eighth to James Thorndike. Jason Miller at a P9, and then rounding out your top 10 was that 56 of Wyatt Wolf.
11th tonight, the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. He had to fight back from a lot this evening. 12th, John Klickner. 13th, Doug Roth. 14th, Jared Como. 15th, Bradley Havard. 16th, Jose Gonzalez. 17th, Kevin Pearson. 18th, Paul Williams II. 19th, Stephen Herring. And 20th, Greg Omo.
21st position to the 6th of Sean Meyer. Mark Bratcher, 22nd. 23rd, Ed Williams Jr. 24th to the 48 of Kevin Linden. Danny Sanchez comes home with the 25th. 26th in favor of the 1 of Thomas J. George. And again, all of these cars multiple laps down behind the wall pretty much when it was all said and done. Anthony DeBarro in the 42 comes home 27th. P28 to Scott Brandberg. It's going to be Nathan Little in 29th. And rounding out your top 30, the 10 car of John Abbott.
Yeah, 31st night, Jason Swan, 97 laps down at the finish, but he was still It listed as trying to soldier at home. 32nd, David Kamara. He was out of the race very early, and Keith Brooks Jr., the first retiree, just 12 laps in, he was a mess after that first caution. He rounds out your 33-car field here in the Thunder Valley 200, which goes again to Adam Benefiel and that 01 crew. Brian Macklin, yeah, you heard from him in Victory Lane, but that could just be a scary thing for the rest of this RSR field, because now that they finally got one win under their belts, oh boy.
Yeah, momentum means a lot, and now that they've got that in there, like you said, under their belts, it's going to be interesting. He's fast every week. He's one of the top contenders every week, and now that he knows what it's like to be in Victory Lane, he's going to be more hungry than ever to get back there. And yeah, I'm one of those guys that has to compete with him every Monday, and I have to admit it kind of worries me now that he's got that taste and he wants to get more.
He wants to get more. That's what everybody else is afraid of. Evan, before we wrap up tonight from Bristol, your final thoughts on a race that was chaotic at times, but gave us everything we could have wanted at the end, despite 17 cautions for 85 laps. It all comes down to a sprint to the finish, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, well, we felt the thunder in Thunder Valley, from the bent sheet metal to a couple of bent feelings, and again, a couple of those really escalated to the point where, I mean, they were going at each other. But again, throughout all those cautions, as you said, because it forced a lot of the guys that did show good racing in the spots where they really had to just go for it, because they knew that they weren't going to be able to have 15, 20, 25 laps to try to set up a pass. It was exciting. And again, really happy about the fact that Jeff Ward, he gave it everything he could to Adam Benefiel at the end, without taking him out. Got to the left rear, couldn't get the job done. Adam gave him a lot of room. It was a great clean run to the end. Good to see that 0-1 of Victory Lane. Talk about Jeff Ward hunting for some history, trying to get a win in all 3 televised series in one season. We still have 5 races to go, and he tops the championship standings. I don't think that we're going to be in the clear quite yet. I feel like that 9 car still going to be hunting that down here for the next couple of weeks.
I imagine you're right, Evan. And as we wrap it up night from the Bristol Motor Speedway, one final statistical note. Not only was tonight Benefiel's 5th career win in the Asphalt Assault TV series, also his 5th career pole to kick off the night. So a night of 5s and 1s for the 01 of Adam Benefiel. He comes away with the trophy, and we will see you for our next RSR broadcast Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern from right back here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. The Cup cars and the Titans of Real Sim Racing take to the high banks for another bout in the last great Coliseum. We'll see you back here for the Outlaw Trucks next Wednesday night, also at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, for Evan Pasoko, Brian Macklin, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, I'm Jacob Seelman, reminding all you race fans, keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time on the web. Congrats to Adam Benefiel, your winner of the Thunder Valley 200.